My racist grandfather said I betrayed my race, so I showed everyone who the real traitor was. My grandfather uses the N-word like it's a comma. He thinks mixed-race children are abominations against nature. He once told my wife Keisha that she was stealing good white men at our rehearsal dinner. And for 6 years, he's made our lives a living hell. Everything began when I first brought Keisha home for Sunday dinner. Grandpa took one look at her and suddenly remembered he had urgent business to attend to. When I confronted him later, he said he wouldn't sit at a table with those people. Things escalated when we got engaged. Grandpa called an emergency family meeting and declared I was polluting the family bloodline, even bringing charts showing how our children would be genetically confused. He refused to attend our wedding, but sent a DNA ancestry kit with a note saying, "So you can remember where you came from," along with photos of single white women in our town. When we announced Keisha's pregnancy, he rewrote his will to exclude me completely and had his lawyer send the documents to my workplace. He even called her workplace claiming she had stolen from him. Last Christmas, he sent a card with a photo of a white family that said, "This could have been you." Keisha found it first and broke down crying. She was 7 months pregnant and didn't need this hatred in her life, but Grandpa didn't care. The day he went way too far was at my cousin's graduation party. Keisha was holding our newborn daughter Lily when Grandpa walked over. I saw him approaching, and my stomach dropped almost as if I knew he was going to say something outrageous. He stopped right in front of us and stared at Lily for what felt like forever, and then he said it loud enough for everyone to hear. "She looks less white than expected. What a shame." The words hung in the air like poison. My hands started shaking with rage, but he wasn't done. He leaned in closer and asked if we were sure I was the father. I heard Keisha's breath catch. She pulled Lily tighter against her chest. Our baby started crying like she could feel the hate in his voice. Keisha's whole body was trembling. Tears rolled down her face. My heart was pounding so hard I thought it might explode. I looked at my wife holding our innocent daughter, and something inside me snapped. I wasn't going to let him poison another generation with his hate. I wasn't going to watch him hurt the two people I loved most. It was time for payback. I spent weeks researching everything about Grandpa's life and discovered the perfect weakness. While he tortured us in private with his racism, he maintained a respectable image at church and in public. He was careful to keep his hatred hidden from Pastor Williams and the congregation. They knew him as a devoted elder who never missed a service. At the 4th of July barbecue, I waited until Grandpa was surrounded by church friends and extended family who rarely saw his true nature. He was giving his usual dignified speech about traditional values when I walked over with tears in my eyes and said, "Grandpa, I just wanted to thank you for that beautiful speech at church about how love sees no color." The entire backyard went dead silent. The church crowd looked confused but intrigued by this unexpected development from their strict elder. I watched his face freeze as he processed what was happening. "Pastor Williams was so moved when you said mixed-race children are proof of God's love," I continued. His breathing got shallow, and I could see his hands starting to shake. The problem was simple. If he denied it, he'd look like a racist in front of his church friends. If he accepted it, he'd be endorsing everything he hated. I had him trapped. The church ladies started murmuring excitedly about this wonderful change of heart. Someone asked when he'd given this speech because they must have missed it. Another mentioned how brave it was to reverse such long-held beliefs. Each comment made his jaw clench tighter. His face was turning red, but he still tried to maintain composure. Then I delivered the killing blow. "And thank you for offering to be Lily's godfather. That means everything to us." That did it. The thought of being spiritually bound to my mixed-race daughter shattered his control. He exploded with a primal scream and lunged at me, hands reaching for my throat. My uncle barely caught him as he screamed slurs his church friends had never heard from him. He thrashed wildly while spitting out 20 years of hidden hatred. The respectable elder they knew was gone. He broke free and went on a rampage, flipping tables and throwing chairs while revealing every racist thought he'd kept hidden. His church friends stood frozen in horror as their moral leader showed his true face. When Pastor Williams arrived and saw his most trusted elder covered in potato salad screaming about racial purity, his face went white. By Sunday, Pastor Williams announced Grandpa's removal from all church positions and banned him forever attending again. His church friends of 20 years wouldn't return his calls. Within a month, he'd lost every social connection he'd spent decades building.